Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of September 2nd through the 8th of 2024. Alright, so this week we have a new moon right at the beginning of the week around Monday, Tuesday. It is another new moon in Leo, and so it is a new beginning here regarding our self-expression, our passion, really what's close to our heart, and setting new intentions around this. Now the new moon is going to be opposite up to Saturn, so there's some balancing with needing patience and discipline and responsibility, so anything that's on that level can be great as well. And early in the week like that, Monday, Tuesday, Mars, the planet of assertiveness and drive, will be in a bit of a clash with receptive Neptune in a square. So this could be good for really remembering that wherever we're putting our energy, our action, really needs to be towards what's important to us on a soul level. If we're feeling a little bit of lower energy or uncertainty with things, then that's probably a good indication that we can realign things to, again, our soul and with that flow of life. This is also happening around the same time that Mars starts to get closer to Gemini, and we'll start to shift into that sign as we progress through the week. And so here, anything that's around putting more action towards learning, communication, being interested, we're coming out of a little more of the grounding energies of Mars and going into more of the mercurial or learning or air energies of Gemini. All right, so it's early in the week, and then towards the week's end, we have Mercury squaring Uranus for the last time. This was part of Mercury's retrograde that dates back to July 21st. And so anything that's about really applying things around more flexibility and adaptability in our life is great. And then the week closes out with the sun opposite Saturn as part of that new moon. So Saturday, Sunday, good to balance out some of those responsibilities and maybe noticing actually some things harvesting regarding the responsibilities we've taken with things over the past 6 months. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, September 2nd. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You may be heard that the new moon's in Virgo right now. So if that is you, definitely check out the link down below for more information on using the visible sky and how it's different from mainstream astrology. All right, so we have the new moon right at the beginning of the week, really setting the stage for this week and this lunar month. As we approach the Tuesday time, let's say, we're still sort of ending the current lunar cycle. So I would say all day still Monday. Good for creating a little bit of that space. Good for completing things that maybe we've been working on the past 30 days of this lunar month, and really getting ready for planting new seeds. And this will, of course, take some time, these new beginnings as we progress throughout this week. But setting new intentions around, let's call it late Monday, early Tuesday, seeing what new things are starting to arise and starting to put momentum towards there. And again, in the context of what is close to our heart, because Leo the lion really is the part of ourself that wants to be doing what we really love in life and what we're really passionate about, and really spend the time with the things and people that we are passionate about in life. And so anything that is about that creative self-expression, anything that is about having a little bit more of that joy or maybe even interest or fun, comedic, playful energy in our life, things that really are lighter in that sense, can be fantastic. And so those intentions. Now, at the same time, though, we do have Sirius Saturn, who is opposite that in Aquarius. And so here, remembering that, of course, where there is passion and doing what we love, there's, of course, also responsibilities. And, of course, while there is also the cultivation of what we love, that these things do take time. And so Saturn in opposition is the reminder to be patient and to see the long road, especially in the context of our future visions, right? So in Aquarius, these past couple years, Saturn's been helping us see that, yes, there are things that we can build towards our future, right? Our future aspirations, and maybe even collective things as well. But this does take time. And so remembering that, I suppose, or just keeping that in the context and sort of balancing out matters of the heart and responsibility, and seeing if we can combine these, actually, seeing if we can align the things and people we love, spending time with responsibility, with patience, with the long-term view, I think is an absolutely fantastic way of working with this new moon. So that is the main aspects with it. There's also a very slight square to Jupiter since Saturn's been sort of squaring Jupiter this year. But I would say here just, being open-minded at the same time while cultivating some of those responsibilities. So that's right at the beginning of the week, this new moon. Again, late Monday for most of us. If you're in the States, sort of late Monday, the rest of the world, early Tuesday, let's say. And so definitely these 2 days sort of planting these new seeds and recognizing that it really is the lowest energy of the lunar month as we slowly build new momentum into this month. And then around this time next week, it'll be much more of a manifestation of the seeds we're planting. So along with this, there just happens to be another very important event also on the cusp between Monday and Tuesday, and this is Mars squaring up to Neptune. So Mars is the planet of our drives. It's the masculine side of ourself and of life that wants to pursue and have goals, to be very action and proactive with things in life. And so doing that with also the receptive Neptune, let's call it the feminine of the higher self, reminds us to really connect with our soul, make sure that what we're doing is soul aligned and is spiritually meaningful to us. And also that, of course, there's so much to life that's outside of our control, and we can say that life is really in control of everything outside of ourselves. And so we want to be receptive to that, right? We want to be aligned to that. We want to be willing to go with that flow, so to speak. So with this, the natural tendency, since it is a challenging aspect, the natural tendency is to sometimes feel a little apathetic. On one extreme, that would be not enough Neptune, or too much, which could be getting caught up into some dreams or ideals and things. So feeling a little uncertain, or feeling like, we're manifesting something that might be too good to be true. So finding the balance between these two, saying that yes, we want to take action in life, obviously, but we need to make sure that that is in alignment with our soul, and it really is what brings in more of that spiritual well-being in our life. So if we can do that Monday, Tuesday, set the intention to put action towards our soul needs, towards more spiritual health and mental health in our life, and being a little more in the flow of life, right? So if we are noticing lower energy or uncertainty, we're probably swimming in the wrong direction of the stream. Let's say we might be swimming upstream and creating that stagnation. So we want to be in tune with life, be receptive, see what life is calling us to do perhaps, or where the flow of life is, and align to that. Because then when we do put that action with the current, then of course we're moving much more steadily. And so aligning that drive, that action towards the current of life, towards our soul fulfillment, and again with the objective of having a little bit more spiritual well-being in our life, I think is an absolutely fantastic way of working with this. And if we want to think back to when this energy started, we could look back to the last conjunction, the last time Mars and Neptune were conjunct in the Mars-Neptune cycle. And this was back around April 29th of this year. So if you want to reflect back on late April, early May, in this context, we can see that actually whatever seeds you did plant at that time in regards to your soul ideals, in regards to more peace in your life, this is where we could really start to see it manifesting here this week. Again, give it a little bit of momentum since we're just in the new moon phase and just planting seeds, but there can definitely be some very, like I said, constructive things that can come out of this. It's really during the square where we notice a lot of the manifestations and where we can really challenge ourselves and put in that action in our life to manifest things in the context of the larger cycle, which again dates back to late April. Now with this, Mars starts to get closer to Neptune. Now we do have to give it a lot of time because Mars is a slow-moving planet and there's quite a gap between Taurus and Neptune, as you can see here. So, but Mars does get a little bit closer to Gemini here around this early part of the week, Tuesday. And so the shift coming out of a little more of the grounded energy. Now we still have a lot of that grounding energy with Jupiter expanding Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. Still great to be thinking, or really in this case, being open-minded to where we can cultivate more of our true values in life and a little more of that self-reliance, even cultivating things like self-worth and maybe even more material or natural abundance. But there's probably going to be a little less action towards that now as Mars starts to slowly get closer to Gemini, and a little bit more action towards the Gemini energies of learning, of being curious, and perhaps a little bit of that social and communicative energy. So for about a little over the next month, really good to see how we can align that drive of Mars, again, that action, that proactivity, towards being interested about life and interested in other people as well. So learning, curiosity, interest, and then in the social sense, communication, exchanging with others, maybe a little bit of trade, things like this can start to get activated here. So great to slowly maybe set that intention, but noticing that shift of desire, maybe that shift of action coming out of a little more of the stable, maybe responsible energies, patient energies that we've had with Taurus there when it comes to our goals, and actually a little bit more of the interest of thought, interest of communication, social curiosity, things of this nature with that transition. So again, do give it some time, as there's, again, quite that gap between these constellations particularly, but Mars is starting to get closer to Gemini this early part of the week. All right, so as we do start to get into the Wednesday time period, the moon will go into Virgo. And so, the first sign after Leo, where the new moon is. And the moon will be in Virgo for pretty much the whole week until Sunday. Very large constellation. So this is all about taking the energies of Leo, which is, again, the love and the passion, and starting to actually work with it, right? Virgo takes the passion and actually works with it. So this whole really middle part of the week here, seeing how we can really focus on what we have control over in life. And in many ways, this is things like, the things in our immediate environment and, of course, ourselves. So things like personal development, self-improvement, health, routine, diet, our work, our service, things like this are always good to put the energy into. But all in all, just seeing how we can have a little more of that refinement in our life, right? Focus on what we can control in the sense of striving towards refinement and improvement of things, and carrying forward against some of that passion in a way that's kind of like the craftsman could be a great way of working with this phase of the lunar cycle. And again, this will just slowly be building some momentum here. And this is where Venus has already been. So it's good to see the value of this, see the value of improvement and refinement, and also see if we can healthfully incorporate that into some of our relationships. Now, with Venus over the South Node around this time, the sort of early part of the week here, there might be some karmic stuff with relationship. That doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean like karma, like it's bad things happening, but that maybe there's some things that we can be a little bit more grateful for and a little bit more yin about. Now, there can be karmic, as in the past, new things coming in, people from the past, maybe situations that feel like they're from past life or something like this, regarding some one-on-one connections. And so nothing to really do with this since it's the South Node, but being aware of it and allowing this energy to kind of flow naturally. The South Node, we really want to be more yin about and more conscious about and more grateful about, as there can be gifts that come through here. But at the very least, we're sort of releasing, clearing, as the Hindus might say, that past life karma, but this past energy. And this can, again, create some space and some well-being in those relationships and with those enjoyments that Venus symbolizes there. Okay, so nothing major. Of course, we have something like this every year. It's kind of giving us a little bit of a prelude, perhaps, to what the next new moon will be, because the next new moon will be a solar eclipse with the South Node. But anyways, a little bit of that consciousness, a little bit of that yin approach and grateful approach to relationships and values here this early part of the week, particularly around this, let's call it Wednesday, Thursday time. Can be great. All right, so Moon in Virgo, as we get into the weekend, as we do get into late Friday, early Saturday, we do have Mercury squaring Uranus. Now, this is part of a set that's happened because of Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde has squared Uranus now for the final and third time. So the final is usually the final integration. It's much easier to work with than maybe the early point, and it usually means tying up whatever started during the first contact. So the first contact was back in July 21st, and then the second was August 18th. And the context here is how we can have a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more adaptability in our life. So Mercury is that sort of Gemini energy of being curious and interested. It rules communication, short distance travel, Again, learning things like this, mental kind of immediate stuff. And Uranus really wants us to have more freedom in our life. So how can we, in this case, finalize things from probably around late July in the context of being a little more open-minded, a little bit more open to change, maybe cultivating a little bit more freedom in our life, or freedom in our day-to-day life with Mercury, and finalizing this. So anything that is around that intention, and experimenting, being open to getting outside of our comfort zone a little bit, having a little bit of healthy freedom, a little bit of healthy change in our life when it comes to that day-to-day, when it comes to that immediate environment, maybe when it comes to some of these communication things. This can all be really solidified here in the context of since July 21st. All right, so that's going into the weekend there with the moon finishing Virgo. Then as we do get into Sunday, this is where we start to experience the opposition to Saturn with the sun specifically. So again, it is part of the new moon, but maybe some things shifting with some of those responsibilities and that patience. We talked about with the new moon that it's good to see that long-term view, and maybe we can notice that solidifying over the weekend. All right, everyone. So that is the week in a nutshell. To sort of summarize this, the most important thing I would say is that we are starting a brand new lunar month very early in the week, Tuesday and Wednesday, planting seeds and setting new intentions for that new beginning, and then slowly building momentum towards that as we go through the week. With that new moon, we do have the action-oriented phase of the Mars-Neptune cycle, which is all about aligning our ego needs and drives with our soul and spiritual needs. And so any intentions around grounding that, implementing that, Monday, Tuesday in particular, can be fantastic there. As we do go through the week here, we got that moon in Virgo, refinements, improvements, taking care of things of this nature, being a little bit yin about relationships and our enjoyments of life, as there's some clearing happening there with the South Node and that we talked about. And then as we get into the weekend, remembering the importance of flexibility, adaptability, and being open to change and getting outside of our comfort zone a little bit in the context since July 21st. And then the weekends with likely some shifts with some of these responsibilities that we could actually be harvesting since the past 6 months. All right, so everyone, have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you haven't yet gotten your True Sidereal report, there's a link down below for that. Just type in your birth details and you'll see it right there on the website. Using the true sky, using the actual visible sky, which is different from mainstream astrology. All right, so everyone have a great one. Thank you again for all of your support, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.